Good evening and welcome to another edition of Fightnwords on the Fightnwords News Network. Fightnwords is brought to you each and every night of the week in grateful appreciation to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, the men and women of police and fire services. When you're out there and you see somebody in a uniform, please let them know you know they're there. We had another tragedy this week. We lost a fellow officer, a female in Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, that's probably one of the worst things to do is have a fellow officer go down. But this one is double tragic because it was in the middle of a gunfight and she was shot by one of her own officers of friendly fire. There is no friendly fire. A mistake was made, yes, call it a mistake, but don't call it friendly because that's not friendly fire. So to our brothers and sisters in the CPD, we send out our best wishes for them, and for the young lady who died, we send out our deepest condolences to her family. Well, Kayden, it's been a terrific week as far as what's going on in MMA. Where should we start?
It's going to be a whole prolific month of June. We got crazy card after crazy card after crazy card. So Dana has been pretty good to us this year, and this month is no different. Mm-hmm. But depending on where we want to start, we could start with the fights tonight. I know we were talking a little bit off mic about Aspinall and John Jones,
right,
and stuff like that. So it's really up to you. Where do you want to start?
Let's go with that one. This thing's been chased up and down the highway for now, 2 years?
I think this is now one of the most heavily speculated fights in UFC history. Mm-hmm. You got Jones versus Aspinall. You got Ferguson versus Khabib. It's just it's fights like these that really make the fans question the motives, not only the company but the fighters too. Mm-hmm. It's like especially when talking about John Jones. John Jones, he has nothing left to prove, and he's really done nothing bad to his fighting image. He's done a lot bad to his image as a human being, mm-hmm. in terms of his multiple arrests out of the octagon, out of the UFC, and right. stuff like that. He's never done something that's affected his career as a fighter until right now. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to take it, because he's always been a guy who, no matter what, he's going to fight who you put in front of him. No matter what, he's going to destroy whoever you put in front of him. And mm-hmm. that's just a fact. He's the best of all time for a reason. Mm-hmm. But this fight is really just one of them ones where everyone thinks the odds are against him. I personally, if I was scoring this fight, I would say that Aspinall would win this fight. It's one of those fights that's been run up and down the hill, like you said. And right now, more than ever, it seems like it will not be happening. Mm-hmm. A year ago, it was almost concrete that it was going to happen, mm-hmm. and that it was no doubt that it was going to happen. Now, mm-hmm. it's looking like John doesn't really care about the belts anymore. Mm-hmm. He's looking to chase that perfect record. And mm-hmm. even though on his record right now he has that loss, if you go look at that loss, it was him getting disqualified for a rule that right now isn't even banned anymore. So his loss doesn't even count anymore. Mm-hmm. So he's just looking to protect that record, in my opinion. But yeah, again, it's one of those things been run up and down the hill. Will we see it? Probably not. Mm-hmm. Sadly.
Yeah, he came out on social media this week and said that he doesn't care about it. He'd give up his belts, but he has no intention of fighting Aspinall.
I've seen that too, and he said that before as well. Like, the belts don't mean anything to him anymore, and you can't really be surprised. He was champion at 22, youngest UFC champion ever, and he's fought the best of the best so many times, and now he's 39 years old. I could see how the belts are losing meaning to him, and how he's just really, even when he says legacy chasing, because when he says legacy chasing, I would feel like this fight against Tom is just a massive piece of his legacy missing. Mm-hmm. So I don't really think he's necessarily legacy chasing, like he says. I think it's more he's record chasing right now. He doesn't want to have another tally in that loss column anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I doubt he fights Aspinall, and I think it's for that reason as well.
Yeah. Hold on. Ooh. You there? Ah, damn it.
Kayden.
Yeah, I don't know how we get cut off there again.
Oh, that was me. That was my fault.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I could see if it was boxing, because he would have made millions of dollars like they do. But it's MMA. They don't pay that well. And he certainly isn't getting out of it because he doesn't need the money, as I'm sure he does, but he's doing it for the right reason, I guess, in his mind, like you said, to preserve his record. But it's
funny. You brought up the money, and it was this is all speculation. None of this is 100% concrete. So he had thrown out that crazy price tag. I think it was like $10 million or $20 million to fight Tom Aspinall,
mm-hmm.
and he was making it sound like he was definitely going to fight Tom for that money,
mm-hmm.
because he wasn't expecting the UFC to go up and say, "Yeah, we'll pay you that. You can fight Tom." And when they said that, "Yeah, we'll pay you that," John said, "No, never mind. I want even more money. I can't fight the guy." So even if that's true, just based on that alone, I think that's evidence of him ducking Tom without a doubt.
Yeah. You talked about tonight's card. Want to talk more about that?
Sure. So we got Sean O'Malley headlining. What is this? 316. Sean O'Malley and Rob headlining UFC 316.
Right.
This is a rematch from their fight last year. Actually, I think it was last year. Either last year or really early this year. But rematch from that last fight where Merab came in and absolutely snatched the crown off of Sean O'Malley's head. It was pretty crazy. I thought that Sean would at least do like piece him up a little, get him in with the good shots like he always does.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just no production from Sean, and an outright onslaught from Merab from the first round to the last.
Mm-hmm.
And the weird thing about Merab is he doesn't slow down. He's so good. His cardio is so good. They had these chips in their mouth guards to monitor their heartbeat when they're fighting.
Right.
And Merab's resting heartbeat in that fight was 44. They got a low of 44.
Wow.
So he's fighting in a title match, the biggest fight of his entire life, going into a 5-round war, and he's in the corner with a resting heartbeat of 44. Like you're just chilling on the couch doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know? It's crazy how even down to literal science and like numbers, this dude is taking bounds and defying the odds with his body, just being an insane athlete. And when a guy is doing that, it's extremely hard to beat that preparation. And Sean has to be ultra focused, ultra prepared for this fight to win. And I think he might have even underestimated Merab a little bit. Because you look at Merab, and to me, I see Aljamain Sterling. I see a white Aljamain Sterling. They're the exact same fighter to me. They're trained mates. They live in a house right next to each other. They talk to each other every day. They train the exact same way. But Merab has a different hunger, youth, and ferocity to him. And that is just such a game changer. And I think that's what Sean really, really misinterpreted and didn't understand going into that fight. Because he fought Aljamain. He caught Aljamain with that beautiful right, and the rest is history. He was champion. But with Merab, it was different. It wasn't that easy. He made him work for every single good punch that he had in that fight, which there wasn't many. And there's a reason for that, because Merab is just nonstop moving, number one, always moving forward, and for the most part, he doesn't, when he needs to move forward, that's like only a little bit of the fight, because 90% of the fight, he's up in your grill, pushing you up against the fence, giving you the mean shots, going in for the clinch and the takedowns, over and over again. It's just, it's relentless pressure. So if Sean can deal with that relentless pressure, then I say that he definitely has a good shot at ending this fight. But other than that, I'm thinking Merab goes in there and does what he did last fight and gets another win.
Good. That's great. One of, I guess it's Ty's favorite fighters has always been Cyborg. And she did a hell of a job as an MMA fighter. Went out on top. But now she's over training with Jake Paul's group. And she's had a hell of a start with in boxing. She's at 5-0 in her last 5 bouts. I know he used to say that she would train with the guys, and that a lot of them wouldn't even get in the ring with her anymore, or the cage with her anymore, because she would beat the hell out of them. So I guess we have to take our hat off to Cyborg.
Oh yeah, she's been doing it for so long too. I didn't know that. I didn't hear the 5-0 record part.
Yeah.
I did hear that she was boxing, and I figure out of any UFC fighter, any MMA fighter, Cyborg could definitely do it pretty well, because she was always that boxing. I wouldn't say one-dimensional, but she was always extremely boxing heavy in the MMA world, and led to some of her losses. But now, I honestly wish she would have done this earlier on in her career. She would have been a damn good boxer. But sadly, she's doing it now. She has to be over 38 years old.
Yeah.
No way she's that.
Yeah, she's probably around 40, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say she may be even in her 40s at this point.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have a lot of time left. So I'm glad that she's going in there, and hopefully she's making her money. Usually, that's the reason that people go over to boxing, is to go make their money. So hopefully she's making her money, and wish her all the best. I didn't know that she was undefeated though.
Yeah. Another female fight that just came out was Kayla Harrison again is calling out Juliana Pena.
Oh, they're fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fighting.
Is that tonight or tomorrow night? Next week.
That is I want to say it's tonight.
That's what I thought.
Let me look real quick. Yeah, it's tonight. So Kayla Harrison finally gets her title shot after years and years of being dominant outside of the UFC, and this past year being insanely dominant in the UFC. I mean, you'd have to be blind or stupid to say that Kayla Harrison wouldn't have gotten her way to a UFC title fight at some point in her career.
Right.
But now she's here, and she's fighting the hardest opponent she ever has. But honestly, I've said this before, I think Kayla Harrison might be the best athlete the women's division has ever seen. And again, it's sad that she's coming in so late, and that she's coming in so, I'm going to say super old, because she's not really super old, but she doesn't have a lot of gas left in the tank. You know what I mean? And I wish she could have done this to the point where she could have a full career in UFC and gone down as one of, if not the greatest female fighter of all time, because I think she has that potential athletic upside. I think it's stupid if you turn a blind eye to that too, just because of how obvious it is that she is so much better than everyone that she faces. And for me saying that, I love Juliana Pena. She made some big splashes beating Amanda Nunes not too long ago, so she knows what it's like to go in there and defy the odds and beat the best of the best. But I don't think that happens. I don't think that happens tonight, and I'm taking Kayla Harrison by dominant win every single time.
All right, I'll put you down for that one. And you realize that if she doesn't win, you get one of Tony's favorite cakes.
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's stick with the females for one more minute. Clarissa Shields has had a pretty decent career over the span of her few years here. Now she's saying that she's had enough, that she's getting out of MMA. Is that a loss or not?
She's a boxer.
Pardon me?
She's a boxer, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's getting out of boxing and going where?
No, she's getting out. Yeah, she's going to retire.
Yeah, this is definitely would be a better question for Z or Tony or Ty, but from what I've heard, I'm not 100% always in the boxing world, so if I hear a boxer's name, they're good. They gotta be good to make it over to my side. Right. And I've heard Clarissa Shields' name. She actually fought Kayla Harrison, I'm pretty sure, in a boxing fight. If I'm not 100%.
Yeah, last year it was. Yeah.
It was last year?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, it's one of those fighters always in the limelight. Seems like she's been on top of female boxing. I'm pretty sure she's also an Olympic gold medalist.
Yes, she is.
Correctly. Yeah, there you go. So, excellent American, excellent boxer. Wish her all the best. But I have a feeling that this isn't goodbye forever. Every single good boxer, they don't retire once.
Yeah, it's funny you say goodbye because one of our former partners on here was Benny Henderson, and Benny says in Texas you never say goodbye, you say I'll see you. What do you think? Who else on tonight's card that you'd like?
Let me go back and look at my my sheet here. You got Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. This is one of the bigger fights of tonight, and it's honestly a fight of two fighters that have fallen out of the UFC's golden graces. Vicente Luque, a couple years back, he's knocking people out. He's on top of the world, and he's looking like he might even charge for a title defense. And that kind of goes by the wayside. He kind of gets forgotten about a little bit, has a loss here and there. And then that's kind of the same thing with Kevin Holland. They've both turned into those mid-level, I would say, gatekeeper type fighters. So it's only right that they fight each other, I guess. Yeah. I'm gonna take a wild guess here and say that whoever loses this fight this is the start of the downward spiral of their UFC career. And if whether it's Luque or whether it's Holland, I don't care. Both of these guys have a lot to lose. Except I think Holland is a little bit less. I think if he loses, no matter what, he'll be in the UFC till he retires.
Right.
Just because he's got the personality and he'll sell tickets and people know him. His nickname is literally Big Mouth. But for Vicente Luque, especially, it's now or never. He's got to turn it around. He's got to put a fire under his ass right now. And if it doesn't happen, then I think this might be a start of a downward spiral for whoever loses this fight.
Well, the Holland just fought not too long ago, and
he does. He fights a lot.
Yeah,
that's another thing the UFC likes about this guy. He has the most fights in a year as a UFC fighter. He's extremely active, and he doesn't really get hurt a lot. Knock on wood, but yeah.
Okay. What you said earlier we talked about Ilya Tapora. He's suggesting that Makhachev is running from him and won't fight him. What's your thoughts?
That situation is really, really weird, and like weirdly I won't say unregulated, but like unreported on. Like I don't hear a lot of people talking about the fact that Makhachev moved up, or that now that it's pretty much just Topuria versus Oliveira. Not even pretty much. It is Topuria versus Oliveira for the lightweight division. So you got all these big changes in these divisions, and this is the one people talk about Jones and Aspinall. No one is talking about this, which is really, really surprising. And so I guess leave it for us to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Makhachev moves up, and honestly, it's just, to me, I think it's bad timing. Makhachev was going to move up, no matter what. It's always been hard for those Dagestani and Russian dudes to make weight, and they're always too big for their division. They always move up at some point. It's just bound to happen. It's just bad that it happened when it did, and I think Makhachev definitely has something to do with Topuria moving up, without a doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that Makhachev could continue making 155 for one more fight against Topuria. It wasn't like the Khabib situation where he was literally dying to make weight. Like he almost died making weight for the Tony Ferguson fight. It's never been that bad for him. So I think it's a mix of bad timing and maybe he's just a little bit, I wouldn't say scared, but worried of the constant competition that's going to be at lightweight. Because there's not a division in the world that consistently provides killer after killer after killer like the lightweight division does. And I'm not surprised that he wants to move up and get out of that dangerous division. It's just surprising that he's doing so for a single belt. Like, he's not doing it for extra glory. He's only doing it because he doesn't feel as good at 155 anymore. So this is one of the ones where he probably is kind of running for Topuria. But if that fight were to happen, I'm picking Makhachev 9 times out of 10. Topuria is an absolutely excellent fighter, and I think he'll be a champion at lightweight for a long time. But I again, it's just weird timing for everything. And I think Makhachev Topuria fight might happen in the future. I think it's still a possible fight that could happen because you got the 1 and the 2, pound for pound number 1 and pound for pound number 2, at a division together for a week, and now they're separated by one division again. It's just too good to be true. They have to fight each other. They have to.
Okay. Well, over the years, we've talked about our favorite fighter has always been Manny Pacquiao, and he was definitely when we started this show in 2004. He was Uncle Bobby's, the guy. That's the only guy he really wanted to talk about. He loved him, and for good reason. Manny was a good fighter. Manny kept a clean family life. Improved his political life by becoming a senator in his home country, the Philippines, and then he ran for governor of the Philippines, but he lost. And then he started training his son, who now is coming up in the boxing world. But it was announced earlier this month late last month, that Manny is coming back. Hold. I'm gonna bring Zito in just a second. Yes, sir. Kayden, we're joined by Zito.
There we go. How you doing, Zito?
Hey, how's it going? I'm sorry, you guys. I was in the store.
No problem.
I had to do some hiding to get back to just settling down.
Yeah.
Glad to be back. Glad to be back.
Yes, sir. We're just talking about Jake Paul and him calling out Tank Davis.
Wow. First of all, I could talk about the weight difference, but even before that, I want to talk about Jake Paul's upcoming fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Oh, yeah, right.
And that, to me, is going to be an interesting fight. And 2 aspects. The first aspect is this. Is it going to be a real fight? Jake Paul said, it's a 10-round match. I don't know if it's 3 minutes per round, but I know it's 10 rounds. I watched the press conference. These guys are, well, that guy, Jake Paul, is confident. I need to know, is it a real fight? Meaning, is Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. going to look like Mike Tyson? We saw him look like that against Canelo when the championships were involved. When millions of dollars before them were involved, he came and showed up and didn't throw about 8 punches around against Canelo. So against Jake Paul, I don't know if he's cashing out like that again. But if he doesn't, Jake Paul doesn't stand a chance. If Chavez Jr. comes to fight, if he really comes to what he's capable of, and then then I don't think Jake Paul does not stand a chance in terms of boxing. What I think is going to happen, to be honest, I think that we're going to see a farce of a show. We're going to see Chavez do what he did against Canelo, and Jake Paul do what he did against Tyson. It's the same type of thing. It's just, to me, it's a little too perfect. Just because when you don't have Mike Tyson show up aggressively, even if you're hurting Jake Paul, we all, like, anybody who's been in the ring knows boxing. I have bad knees. As bad as my knees are, and as good as Mike Tyson is, he could cut the ring off and beat the hell out of Jake Paul. If he would have put himself out there to do that.
Right.
He would have moved his head to the side, calmed his feet down instead of jumping in. Mike Tyson always jumped in with his feet, but when you get older, your feet slow up. So now, all you do is cut the ring off on these young, aggressive guys. I spar them all day. That's for sparring, fighting. I understand it's different, whatever. But the thing is, if you do it in sparring, you're going to do it in the fight.
Right.
So, yeah. So as far as that goes, like Jake Paul, I'm not looking past this fight until he gets past this fight. He's not going to knock Chavez Jr. out. That's not going to happen. So if there's a knockout, that means Chavez Jr. came for real. That's the only way a knockout's going to happen.
Okay. Let me just ask you. I sent you the galley proof of Bernard Fernandez's latest book. Did you get a chance to read any of it?
No, I didn't. I don't even know where to get it from. Like that.
It's on your computer.
On my computer?
Yeah, I sent you an email with a copy of it, of the manuscript.
Okay. All right. I'm darn sure I'll get to it. I mean,
okay.
I have to look it up to make, I just had so many messages, but I'll make sure. like, when you say that, like, Bernard, you're talking about boxing, and, like, I've written on boxing.
Right.
So,
right.
I need to appreciate that just from a writing aspect.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to call him in about 5 minutes, and we're going to get him on if he's back from New Orleans. He had to go down to New Orleans for a wedding.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
good.
originally from New Orleans and had been the top fight reporter for the Philadelphia newspapers for 35 years. And then he retired and started writing books and traveling and doing things. And then, of course, we all know that about 6 months ago he lost his wife to cancer, which was a very sad thing. But he's bounced back now, and he's got this other book that's out now. Well, will be out in, I think he said July. I sent everybody the galley so you can read it. And then when I get the copies of it, he's going to sign copies of it and send them down to me, and I'll get one to each of you. So, but before I go to him, how about Tank Davis and Lamont Roche?
Yeah, I can't wait till their matchup. I can't wait. When is it supposed to take place next week?
16th. Right? No, the 16th of July. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So we're dealing with around a week.
Yeah.
All right. So next week. Good. I don't know. Right here and here, I'm going to say this. It depends on the judges.
Mm-hmm.
I think this fight is going to be razor close enough to where they might award it to Tank just for the third matchup, but I think it's going to be razor close. And here's why. Because I don't see too much difference from the first fight, except for Tank stepping up a little more, which might help him win more rounds. Tank isn't a big round winner. He's big on figuring you out. He'll let you win rounds till he figures the key spots out. Lamont Roach is good enough to mix it up, to change things to where Tank can't exactly find that beat on him. The thing is this, Tank is a talented boxer, so even the first fight, Lamont Roach won clean to me, but it was still close. I mean, this fight, I see it a lot closer. I don't see Lamont Roach, to me, winning clean. I don't see Tank Davis exactly winning clean either. What I see is I just see a judge's mentality. What do the judges prefer that night? I think they might. I think the judges will lean to Tank just because in boxing we know we have to for the third fight, unless Lamont Roach wins clean. If Lamont Roach wins clean, I mean, as far as just not the judges, just as far as the boxing analysis and a true boxing eyes, then yeah. I mean, then we know who's the best. We know who's going to be the better of the two. If Lamont Roach puts up a good enough fight to have a dispute on the cards, then we might have a dispute on like do we need a third fight? Like Lamont Roach, he might have edged him out in 2 fights. But I don't necessarily see that. I see it being a razor close fight with Tank Davis kind of. He might edge it out even in my eyes.
Right. We're gonna take a break here just a second and see if we get Bernard on.
Absolutely.
The wireless customer you are calling is not available. Please try again later. El cliente de servicio móvil al que llama no se encuentra disponible. Favor de intentar más tarde. Message 1, US01 LV.
Okay, I guess he's still in the air because we just got the voicemail. So let's go, Kayden, coming back to your side again. Depressus versus Shamez.
Dricus Duplessis versus Hamza Chimaev. This is part of the blockbuster Instagram lives that Dana White had a couple weeks ago. He went on. He said, "Oh, this is going to be some massive news." Everyone thought it was going to be Aspinall versus Jones. Turns out it was just Dricus Duplessis versus Hamzat and Poirier versus Holloway. 2 still amazing cards that everyone wants to see, but not the card that everyone wants to see, sadly. And we already talked about that at the start of the show. But this is another one of those fights to me that I think is kind of written in the stars. I've always said that the Hamzat Chimaev is built to be a UFC champion. He's going to be a UFC champion at some point. He's finally getting his first shot to become a UFC champion against, to me, I think is the best most well-suited fighter that he could have fought to be a champion out of anybody his entire career. You know, he's had guys like champions like Usman, Adesanya, Bilal, stuff like that. Honestly, Leon Edwards probably would have been maybe a little better as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Dricus du Plessis, I don't think he has that. He's extremely motivated and extremely unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going up against what the most ferocious, the most unpredictable fighter in maybe UFC history. I mean, we've seen Hamzat do some absolutely insane feats of strength, athleticism, all in the first round. I mean, this is just like kind of what he does.
Mm-hmm.
So I said this before. If Dricus can weather the first round well, like not take a lot of damage, not get worn out, then he definitely has a completely different shot at winning this fight than
Mm-hmm.
before. And it's sad that it has to be fought that way, that Hamzat has to fight that way. It's just the way that he does it, and no one can change it. It's just like he just has to go out there and go absolutely insane in the first round and try and kill the dude. He definitely can. He has the strength and the skill and the experience to go in there and finish Dricus in the first round. He 100% does. And I'm honestly going to say that's what happens as well. I think that Hamzat gets the first round finish. I think that this is going to be one of the most one-sided UFC title weight events that we've seen since Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo.
Mm-hmm.
I really think it'll be that brutal and that dominant of a performance from Hamzat. Maybe it's just my bias, but I look at everything that Dricus has done. I've watched every single one of Dricus' fights in the UFC. He doesn't approach the octagon the way that a guy like Kamaru Usman does. That's really Hamzat's hardest fight with Kamaru Usman. He doesn't approach the octagon the same way as Kamaru Usman or as Hamzat Chimaev especially. And it's the only reason why Usman was able to go the distance against Hamzat is because he had the defense, the knowledge of the defense on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
If Dricus can just avoid being submitted, and he can win the fight 100%.
Mm-hmm.
He has to weather that storm, win the fight. But if he can't,
mm-hmm.
then it's done. And like I was saying, he doesn't approach the fight of the octagon that way.
Mm-hmm.
He approaches it like everything is kind of set in stone for him. Like it's a fate. He's fated to win the fight. I don't know how else to explain it. That's just how he fights. He fights like he knows he's going to win every single time.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know how, but he knows he is going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he can't approach that fight against a calculated dude like Hamzat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he will. I think he'll go into the fight just like that. It's like the way I said. And I wouldn't say he's going to be ill-prepared. He's not going to have that grappling experience and skill
mm-hmm.
to combat the ferocity and skill of Hamzat. So I think that it'll be I wouldn't even say easy fight, but quick fight for Hamzat.
Oh. Hey, hold on just a second, guys. Hold on just a second. Yeah, hold on just a second. Come on in, Big Bird. Guys, we're joined by the big kahuna of Northport, Florida. How you doing, kahuna?
The king of rock and roll is the Iola in Northport, Iola. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, yeah.
We are doing good. I'm sorry I was late, gentlemen, but thank you for keeping it warm for me.
Go ahead.
Good to hear from you again.
Go ahead, Z, when I interrupt you, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just talking about, I wanted to, Kayden, I have to disagree with you to a degree. That is the perfect mentality for a fighter. The way du Plessis comes in, like he's always going to win. No matter what happens, you're always going to win. That is the perfect mentality. That I want all my fighters to go in like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to say something about the actual fight. Game planning and conditioning. Hamzat comes out real aggressive. Hamzat has been known to run a little low on energy towards the end. Duplessis absolutely has a chance of winning this fight. Hamzat's big. That's the problem. Hamzat's just big and he's strong. He can overwhelm. He usually overwhelms, but then when he doesn't overwhelm, he has to settle down to a fight to where it gets attritional. We've seen Hamzat do attritional. He's won attritional, but now I don't know if he's going to beat Duplessis in attritional fight. So I'm going to put it at 60. Hamzat 40. You know what? 55-45.
Tony, you taking care of this, right? Just in case. You may have to bake.
If the Duplessis gets ran over, I eat crow. But I'm predicting an upset.
All right.
I'm predicting that Duplessis actually has game plan and conditioning. If he has those two, he cannot get overwhelmed and win the fight by decision. Round 3, he can start doing stuff. I've seen stuff from both fighters to where, we have to worry about the Duplessis getting overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
But we've watched him. He's good in controlling the early parts too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, as far as getting overwhelmed, Hamzat might not want to run into something.
Mm-hmm.
Messing with the questions, to be honest.
Sure.
Am I wrong, Kayden?
You're not wrong, but I think that's also the problem with him too. He's not scared to run into those situations, and we saw against Gilbert Burns. He ran into Gilbert Burns, and he almost got knocked out cold against Gilbert.
And Gilbert Burns cracks.
Oh yeah,
Gilbert Burns exactly. Gilbert Burns cracks.
All right, Tony, I got one for you now. Dubois versus Usyk. Who will be the victor?
Well, I think we talked about this a week or two ago, but I'm gonna go Usyk on. Well, I don't know. I think I'm gonna change my tune. I think I went Usyk last week or the week after, and I think Z talked some sense in me on that one because I thought about it long and hard after. Dubois is no joke. That guy, he's out for vengeance, and that showed in that last fight. Actually, 2 fights ago, he kind of beat. It was him, and there was another guy too. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but 2 guys that kind of came out of nowhere. Could Usyk get knocked out? If anybody's going to knock Usyk out, Dubois could do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it'll go that way, but that is a possibility. If it goes longevity to the very end, I can't see Usyk losing points-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be a good solid fight. There's going to have to be some defense in that one because if there's not, somebody's going to be hitting the concrete.
Okay, Z?
I'd rather hear Benny talk about it first.
Oh. You want me to try and get him on the phone? I'll try and get him on the phone.
Hey, we get him.
Oh, I thought, okay. He's not here?
No, Benny's not here.
Okay, well, Usyk and, they fought once. And there was a disputed body shot that Dubois landed. It was on the belt. And they called it low. Usyk stayed down for a while. They gave him time. The ref said it early. I watched the fight. The ref said it early that, even before it would have been a 4 count. The ref said you have all the time to get up.
Mm-hmm.
You have the time. So, as far the Dubois camp has been saying that Usyk, he stayed down late and, the body shot dropped him. But the ref, I watched it and the ref said early, before even a 4 count, it's a low blow.
Mm-hmm.
He has time to recover.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, I don't know if it was a low blow.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm gonna say. It's going to be a dispute with the trunks. I know all that's in the negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, Usyk's going to beat the hell.
All right.
Or my life, going to beat the hell out of Dubois. And the only reason I'll say this is this. Usyk has been through two Fury. He has seen Joshua twice. Understand, Dubois beat Joshua. But I think Usyk has seen a better level of competition. I know Usyk has seen a better level of competition. Let me see. I like Dubois. Let me see him fight somebody like Chisora.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I don't think that he and the one thing also I want to say is Usyk hasn't shown signs of getting old to the point of losing to Dubois.
Okay.
If it goes to points, who are you going with, Steve?
What's that?
If it goes the full distance, points-wise, you lean into Usyk then getting more shots in?
Yeah, I don't leave it going points-wise. He stopped Dubois the first fight. I see him stopping him this fight. If not earlier, he might have got a little older, a little wiser, not putting himself in as much danger, but he stops Dubois. Anytime Usyk sees Dubois, he's going to stop him. Yeah, that's a terrible style matchup.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a terrible style matchup.
Okay.
A guy who comes straight forward against a guy who's calculating and who will chop you down until you're done? Yeah. Technique against brawl, I'm always going to go against technique when they have the same kind of talent.
All right. Kayden, what do you think about Robert Whittaker and Rene DeRuyter?
I think it's definitely the biggest fight for DeRuyter's career. He just came off of, I'm pretty sure he beat Bo Nickel.
Mm-hmm.
He either beat Bo Nickel or he almost beat Bo Nickel, something like that. But he beats him, or he almost beats him, or something. He fights him, none of that. And this is a bounce back fight for Robert Whittaker after his loss against Khamzat Chimaev. So a lot to prove for both fighters, as in this is DeRuyter's first big break into the scene, and this is maybe the last time for Rob Whittaker to stay in the champion circle, stay in the top five. I don't know how much gas he's got left in the tank. Now that division is getting even more closed up with guys like Jack Hermanson and you got DeRuyter coming up, and you got Khamzat Chimaev, and it's such a crowded division right now. Same with lightweight. This fight, both fighters have a lot to prove. I'm still going to give this one to Robert Whittaker, though.
Okay.
I think we didn't see enough of Robert Whittaker in last fight to judge how much of a good or bad he's gotten since his last legitimate fight. His last literal fight was against Khamzat Chimaev, but we didn't really get to see a lot of him in that fight because he just got wrapped up and killed. But we saw a lot of DeRuyter, and I think without a doubt Robert Whittaker can beat him. But it's all about the attrition, the youth. Will all that set in? Usually it does. So that's probably not a good sign for our boy Rob there, but I still think that Rob goes in there and gets it done.
Okay. Tony, what do you think about Joseph Parker, Joseph Parker and Dylan White that's coming to a head?
Did it get signed finally? Or?
Not yet, but they're close.
I'd like to see it. I don't think there's two good fighters. I think Joseph pulled that one off. Although Dylan's not one to mess with, but Joseph still got some steam in the tank, so I wouldn't put it past him to be able to take him down.
Okay.
I don't think it'll go the whole fight.
See?
I don't know. I know they fought before, and they scheduled. I didn't know they were scheduled to fight again.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm gonna say is this: it's gonna go different than before. Before the first fight that Joseph Parker and Dylan White fought, Dylan White was losing early. He was losing early, but what happened was he was running out of energy. And he like around round 4, he was like, I'm chasing this guy. I'm getting tired.
Mm-hmm.
So he did probably the smartest thing that you could ever do when you run in that situation. He started going to Joseph Parker's body very hard.
Mm-hmm.
And by around round 6, Joseph Parker's energy was a bit sapped, and he didn't want the contact.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan White wanted to fight off of that. I mean, it was a decision fight because you don't knock Joseph Parker out unless you're Joe Joyce, and Joseph Parker wants to run head first into Joe Joyce all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the only way you beat Joseph Parker, is Joseph Parker beats himself. I mean, well, he'll lose a fight, but he only gets himself knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, if they're fighting again, he's going to kill Dylan White.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Dylan White right now has gotten older. Joseph Parker's gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bad combination. So, yeah, I thought Joseph Parker, I mean, right now, maybe he's keeping busy. By picking the Dylan White fight, which to him is safe and it's still a name. But he's waiting for the winner between Dubois and Usyk because he's fought neither one, and he is basically the third one on the top.
Okay.
He's the third one on the top. Like, he's on a hot streak right now. He's beat Deontay Wilder. He's beat Big Bang. He has those two guys. They're supposed to be the most dangerous guys. They were. He's beat those two guys.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Joseph Parker at in the championship? My thing is this. Joseph Parker deserves a crack at somebody's title. I think I would love to see him fight Dubois. That would be probably the most interesting fight to make. I think Usyk chops him up right now. Right now, I think just Usyk, he's a level above everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, what you have left is nobody on his level. So he's going to fight Dubois. I don't think Dubois is on his level. I think, as I say, Dubois gets stopped.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to stop Joseph Parker and Usyk. And just to put it out there, if Usyk and Dubois fought, Usyk and Parker fought, he doesn't stop Parker. Nobody stops Parker. But Parker just he takes a beating and gets frustrated all night long against Usyk. I would love to see him, and oh my goodness, that probably would be the most exciting fight to me, style wise, and just to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Him, Parker against Dubois.
Okay.
That's all I have about that.
Okay. Kayden, Ilya Taporo has changed his coaches and fired his team. Will that make him more aggressive, less aggressive, bigger opponent, lesser opponent? What's your thoughts?
I was like a little bit away from the phone. Did you say Ilya Taporia?
Yep.
That is very surprising. I didn't. Yeah, that's a big curveball to me. I had absolutely no idea about that. We've seen a lot of fighters go through fighting camps, and maybe some sort of personal feud happens with their trainer, something like that. Honestly, for something like this, I would ask a guy like Z. I want to know what he thinks.
Okay. See?
Yeah, you talking about Taporia and who?
He dropped his coach and his team. He got a new coach and a new team.
What loss did he have to make him do that?
I have no idea.
No loss.
No losses. No.
So exactly. He has no loss to do that.
Mm-mm.
You got your whole coaching team and you're successful.
Yeah.
Okay, the most I'm going to say about something like that, we'll find out what happens.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll find it. That doesn't make sense. We'll find out what happens.
All right. Tony, Josh Taylor, and Esimon. What's your thoughts?
Is there another one that got signed?
Yep.
Ooh, well, I don't think there's really anything going against Josh Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I'm going to be choosing on that fight. Z, who do you think on that one?
Who's Josh Taylor fighting again?
Josh Taylor and Essuman. Essuman.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look Esteban up. But at this point, I can't pick it because Josh Taylor is on the tail end, and if the guy is up and coming, he can give Josh Taylor a tough fight.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not built like that, then he's gonna lose.
Okay.
But if he's built like that and he can get to Josh Taylor enough, I like Josh. Josh is at the end of his career, and Josh been knocked out like maybe twice.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I seen Josh substantially was against Teofimo Lopez, and he was getting shined by.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Josh to me is definitely off. I just have to see who he's fighting, what he's all about.
Okay. Hey, Tony, we had Cornflake Lamato, Tom Cornflake Lamato on about a year and a half ago, and he had a couple wins, couple losses, decided he was going to be a promoter, he and his parents, and put a lot of money into it. Evidently, that didn't work out for him, so he was just in the ring in Atlantic City last weekend with Jamal Charlo, and he didn't make out very well there either. What's your thoughts?
I think we all predicted that one last week. I remember Z talking, or maybe not last week, the last show that we were on. Z was talking about Cornflake not having quite what it's going to take, and I kind of agreed with him. I'm not very big on the Charlo brothers by any means, but that's kind of one of those predictions you could see and not go wrong with. But yeah, Z nailed that one right on the head.
Mm-hmm. All right, Z, what do you think about Caleb Plant getting beat by?
Okay. Yeah, that was on the same card.
Right.
I'm going to talk about the Charlo one first.
Okay.
That actually was a better fight than I thought it would be. I like Cornflake. The only thing is this: Cornflake, his mentality is there.
Mm-hmm.
His shell just isn't. And I mean, not to that level. Because Charlo, that's a different level of touching and of taking. Like that give and take. Charlos are special when it comes to give and take.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even buzz them. I've watched both Charlos get punched in the head by Sunday's best punch.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's Sunday's best punch. And it doesn't even take them off their game plan, which is to just jab and punch your head off.
Mm-hmm.
I like is this version of Charlo looked more mature.
Mm-hmm.
He looked different defensively, not exceptionally, spectacular defensively. He looked a lot better and calmer. Where the Charlos, they were energy, hands up high, trying to knock your head off with the 1-2, come with the 3, everything that's. I watched that guy sit up there and say, "We're going to spar until we're going to spar a boxing in," which means every punch doesn't have to be hard. You work your hard punches in with your soft, your different timing punches, your different level punches.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I watched Charlo, a mature Charlo. He looked heavier, and I didn't like the way his body looked. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if a tougher guy would have, but I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like Cornflake. I like Lamana because the simple thing is this: he came to fight and he put up a good set.
Mm-hmm.
He did what he was supposed to do. It was just a shell.
Mm-hmm.
It's different in shells, it's different at how you get at a person. Cornflake landed some good shots. He did good work in there. Charlo did harder. He did good work too, but harder. And Cornflake defensively, I said that before the fight. He's just not going to be able to get away from what Charlo's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I just seen Charlo get more mature and patient with it, so that when he did do it, he showed me how tough Cornflake was, because Cornflake
Okay.
I rock with that.
All right. Kayden, Victory versus Allen. It's coming up the next card.
That's another one of those fights where two fighters that have kind of been out of the UFC's good graces in the last couple of years. I hear the name Vittori like once every 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he used to be up there fighting Adesanya, and now he's down here. If Allen is it Arnold Allen? I don't think I know who he's fighting.
Okay.
Because I think Arnold Allen is a featherweight. I don't know who he's fighting, so I can't really speak on much of his opponent. But I mean, if it's the Marvin Vittori we know and love, he'll go out there and be the Italian stallion, and never quit, and go out there and get the W. But as of recently, I don't think so. I think Marvin Vittori might still head on this downward slope that he's been in.
Okay. Tony, Keyshawn Davis is out there trying to find a fight. If you had somebody that you thought would be a good matchup for him, who would it be?
Still there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I didn't know if that was me interrupting.
Yeah. Keyshawn Davis is looking for a fight. Who would you set him up with if you were the matchmaker?
I'd say it won't be something that was going on with the phone there. Say I heard the Keyshawn Davis and him.
That's it. Who would you set him up with as a fight? He's looking for a fight.
Shakur.
Okay.
Shakur. I think they've been talking about it. There's a 3 or 4 guys that are trying to set something up. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Keyshawn and Shakur that were talking some smack back and forth. I'd like to see that fight.
Okay. See, what's your thoughts?
Let's see how Shakur does against Zapata. William Zapata.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I am pretty high on Zapata. I think Shakur can beat him. But Zapata's going to bring something out of Shakur that we're going to need to see. And that's Shakur needing to get somebody up off. Zapata is, like, as far as size, as far as matching up, Zapata's a busy guy who doesn't mind working long into the inside. Which means, like, he matches up, to me, they match up lengthwise with arm reach. Zapata uses arm reach, but then he's very aggressive and throws a lot of punches. And he doesn't mind getting, he'll do it long, he'll do it, in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy that you're going to have to get up off of.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy that you're not going to just go ahead and control him with your power. Because I've seen Zapata hit. I watched a Tevin Farmer fight, and Tevin Farmer had to sign him. It's different styles with stuff. Right? He had to go ahead and put his time in to his degree, and that didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna put it this way. I'm going to favor Shakur. I'll favor Shakur in that fight against the Potter.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not talking anything past Shakur against the Potter until that fight's done. Like I can't.
Okay.
Because that fight's interesting to me.
Okay. Well, guys, that brings us to the end of our night. Wait a minute. I do have one more. Kayden. Katie Tower and Amanda Siriano for the third time around. What's your thoughts?
I think it'll be. I mean, this is they both have one on each other. I think.
Right.
Maybe Serrano's won them both. I forget. Either way, I think it'll be kind of a matchup of the other ones. I honestly kind of fucked up on this one. I'm forgetting my train of thought. Maybe Zeke a little bit. This one I don't know as much about.
See?
Toronto.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be Serrano.
All right. Well,
What are you talking about? Solano and who?
Amanda Taylor. Or Katie Taylor.
Kaden Taylor. Again?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. The last fight, they ruled it for Kerry Taylor, and I watched it twice. And I don't know if, it was razor close, and one time I thought the first time I thought that Amanda is it out. The second time I thought it was a draw. Yeah, hell yeah, this is our third fight. Who's going to win the third fight? I'm going to predict Amanda because Katie Taylor's, she's getting older. Her skill's going to last less than Amanda's aggressive. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
I saw that one. I think Serrano won that last fight. I did watch that one.
I did. You know what? I thought it was a draw. You know what? I might be wrong. I thought maybe Serrano did win the second fight, and it was a draw the first one. I just remember that it was a draw.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the fights, I just remember that because real talk, that was razor close. Both fights were really close to me.
Okay. Well, guys, that brings us to the end of our hour here. In fact, we ran over a little bit, but that's okay. I just want to let everybody know that we went off Riverside FM. We're now on YouTube. We're live on YouTube. As soon as the programs are finished, we load it up, and it'll be available for viewing worldwide in the morning. So I want to let everybody know that. Tony, you want to lead us out?
Yeah, I definitely want to talk to you about that Riverside on the side there, see what happened. But I will thank you guys for catching me late today. I'm sorry I had a lot of stuff going on here. It's been a busy couple of weeks. Next week, I'm going to be trying to catch you guys from the mountains. If I could get a good signal in and everything works out, I'm going to hit you up from Georgia. So I will definitely try to catch on next week. Otherwise, I'll catch you the week after. Okay. And good show today for a half show for me. And love you guys like brothers. And hopefully we will get some good fights in here real soon here so we can keep talking. Yep. Love you guys. You have a good evening.
Thanks, Tony. See?
I want to tell Tony, first of all, be safe in all your travels, man. Love having you on the show. Please continue.
Thank you.
No doubt. Kayden, you too. Congratulations. Not going to forget Kayden's got to go to further education. So,
good job, Kayden.
We're going to go and shout that out, too. Butch, love you already. Love all my Fightnwords family. These shows are definitely in memory of Bob, Coach Mel, Dr. Chris. Anyone with any Fightnwords, please do call.
Kayden?
Oh, yeah, another great night. Y'all know this show is nothing but love. And definitely happy to be on next week. Happy to be on this week. Y'all have a good week and a better night next time. See y'all next time.
All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, these programs are brought to you each and every night of the week in grateful appreciation to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, men and women police and fire services. When you're out there and see somebody in uniform, please let them know you know they're there. Also, if you get a chance, the ladies and gentlemen that work at the ER and the hospitals and the first responders, please give them the respect. They're going through an awful tumultuous time with these different COVIDs that seem to be cropping up. These programs are dedicated to those who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Deputy Robert Anthony Carroll, Patrolman David Curtis, Patrolman Jeffrey Colcat, Patrolman Jeffrey Yazowitz, Sergeant Thomas Batinger, San Diego Officer Mike Hendler, Sergeant Tom Wilson, Charlotte County Sheriff's Department, Detective Randy Bell, Detective Ricky Childers, Patrolman Charlie Condit, Tarpon Springs Police Department, Deputy Chief Mike Godwin, Philadelphia Fire Department, Lieutenant Joyce Craig Lewis, Philadelphia Fire Department, Sergeant James O'Connor, Philadelphia Police Department, Sergeant Chris LeVake, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department, Lieutenant Mike Zerba, Newcastle County Police, Patrolman Anafo Crispin, Lakeland PD, Deputy Josh Meyer, Nassau County Sheriff's Department, Captain Matt Letourneau, Philadelphia Fire Department. Captain Chris Leach, Wilmington Fire Department. Lieutenant Jerry Ficus, Wilmington Fire Department. Lieutenant Ardith Hope, Wilmington Fire Department. Chief Jimmy Ford, Wilmington Fire Department. Chief Al Hogle, Longboat Key Police Department. Deputy Mike Hargrove, Pinellas County Sheriff's Department. Trooper Chelsea Richards, Florida Highway Patrol. Trooper Joe Bullock, Florida Highway Patrol. Trooper Zachary Ben, Florida Highway Patrol. Sergeant Chris Fitzgerald, Philadelphia Police Department. Sergeant Ramon Mendez, Philadelphia Police Department. Chief Corey Compantier, Buffalo Creek Fire Department. Deputy Rodney Regadini, Manatee County Sheriff's Department. My brothers and sisters, although you may be 10-7 at this point in time, sometime we'll be 10-10 at the table of the Lord. Till that time, may the rose rise up to meet you, may the winds be always at your back. May the rains fall softly on your fields, and the sun shine lightly on your face. Until we meet again, may the good Lord keep you and your family always in the palm of his hands. Good night, God bless, and have a great week.